This is PC Tech, and today we're taking a look on the Q6600 and its gaming performance in 2018 or 19. We have the Q6600 running at 3.8 GHz with 8 gigs of DDR2 1066 memory and on an ASUS P5K-A Wi-Fi AP motherboard. Now the Q6600 is quite old by today's standards. It's 10 years old. And yeah, many people would say it is outdated, and if I agree on it or not, we will see it on the end of this video. And I first ran Cinebench R15 and the CPU scored 373 points in multi-threaded application and 98 points in single core. Then Geekbench 4 shows us similar results, where the score isn't very high, to be honest, but yeah, it should be fine for everyday tasks in my opinion. Then 3D Mark shows us a score of 7,596 points with an R9280X, and when we take a closer look at detailed scores, we can see that the GPU is just too fast actually for the CPU, even though we have more than a 50% overclock on the CPU. All this overclocking leads this score to be the fastest score on a 3D Mark benchmark side with in comparison to PCs with similar specs. We are starting off the game benchmarks with Fortnite, probably the most popular esports title right now. You can see the specs on the screen right now, and here the recording of my screen while I'm playing Fortnite in a team battle with 3 other players. Next we have Dirt Rally, which sets the system up at very high graphics settings at 1080p as all the other games, and VSync is turned off, and multi-sampling and anti-aliasing at 4 times. Next up, and the last game I'm gonna test is Fallout 4. It's a 1080p high settings and with TAA anti-aliasing and anisotropic filtering at 16 times. So having ran 3 graphical demanding benchmarks and 3 other CPU demanding benchmarks, we could say that the Q6600 might be fine for some games, but it is limiting modern graphics cards as the R9280X, which is totally fine for games on nowadays standards. However, the Q6600 is kind of struggling at holding pace with the graphics card, as we can especially see here on Fallout 4, where the graphics card really isn't maxed out in its performance. Even though that we have VSync on, the CPU is really high up in its usage, and yeah, so it just tells us that it is a limiting factor, or as people would usually say, it is a bottleneck in your system. and it is also being showed by the single core score of Cinebench R15 of 98 points, which really isn't that high anymore for nowadays standards, but for people who are playing occasionally on their Q6600, it is absolutely fine in my opinion. So if you liked this video, please leave a like down below. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike, leave a comment, and subscribe here if you want to see some more content in the next days. And I'll see you. Bye.